What happens when you show the Dark Brotherhood betrayer his mother's severed head? I know I covered this in the original Oblivion, but honestly, this is my favourite piece of hidden dialogue in the entire series that is 100% worth a look and comparison in the remaster, as we shall also be comparing the difference in their mothers' heads, as well as a fan favourite corpse, which has become more gruesome than ever, and the dialogue of the Black Hand members present. Before we get started though, spoilers ahead. To set the tone of the video, a minor piece of backstory. During the Dark Brotherhood questline, we learn from none other than Lucien LeChance that we have a traitor in our midst, a traitor who we accidentally aid in eliminating key members of the Brotherhood. Unfortunately, the Brotherhood then believes that Lucien is the traitor, and so we have limited time to aid the speaker in this game of cat and mouse.
Now go, learn the identity of the betrayer, so we can end this madness and restore the authority of the Black Hand.
In an attempt to ferret out the true betrayer, we follow a lead to Anvils Lighthouse and threaten the keeper for information on who is inside.
If you're here to kill that fellow in the cellar, then good. I won't call the guards or nothing. He's doing unnatural things down there. I've heard the screams and the smells. I never should have rented out that cellar. Never.
Down in the cellar, we find all manner of dead bodies in this disturbing dwelling. It's only in the farthest room do we find two things. The first is a grisly discovery of an unnamed woman's decomposed head on an altar surrounded by candles. The second is the diary of the true Dark Brotherhood betrayer. Inside its pages, in an attempt to learn their identity, we discover the truth of the betrayer's tragic youth. When he was a boy, he was forced to hide and watch helplessly as his mother was killed before his eyes by Lucien LeChance himself during one of the speaker's contracts. For I was watching 'neath the bed to see the falling of your head, and when your face lay on the floor, our loving eyes did meet once more. And so I pledged to you that day, the Brotherhood would dearly pay. And just as they took me from you, I'd find and kill their mother too. But there's some place I need to start, and that's with Father's beating heart. And when that's done, I'll sing and dance to celebrate a dead LeChance. The journal is also filled with incoherent ramblings, and it soon becomes evident witnessing his mother's murder broke the betrayer's sanity. Despite being quite mad, the betrayer then surreptitiously wore a flimsy mask of sanity somehow to enact his long sought out revenge. First, he infiltrated the Dark Brotherhood, and by climbing through the ranks of the organization, he would be free to seek retribution against LeChance, and then the Night Mother herself, in essence, a mother for a mother. Unfortunately, the head on the tray then makes all the sense in the world that the betrayer has made a shrine to his deceased mother and somehow crudely kept the decaying head all this time as he's shown to speak to it in his diary. Now this of course is an Easter egg in and of itself, mirroring Jason Voorhees' mother's severed head that spoke to a deranged Jason in the Friday the 13th horror series.
Jason, Mother is talking to you.
What's amazing about said head, if you can use that word, is the following. In the original game, the head was just that of a generic zombie, and several can be found in-game. A good example is one in Lost Boy Cavern. In the remaster, it's clear the pains the developers have taken to make this head somehow much more detailed and gruesome, which is, of course, more evident with a side-by-side. Speaking of macabre comparisons, we then arrive at Applewatch, Mother's head in tow, to meet LeChance and find we're too late. Lucien, or what's left of him, is hanging before us upside down, and interacting with his corpse, a pop-up reads, "Lucien LeChance has been murdered, stripped and mutilated by the Black Hand. Apparently, they thought he was the traitor and punished him accordingly." Again, instead of a generic hanging corpse asset used many times throughout Oblivion, we find instead in the remaster a custom corpse of Lucian, complete with a slicked back ponytail, his lifeless eyes frozen, pleading, well, at least one of them, as the other seems to be knocked back into his skull. His jaw, partially ripped off, exposes his bashed-in teeth, now crooked, and inside the bloody maw that was once his mouth. Surprisingly, the Black Hand must not have cut out his tongue, instead allowing him to plead for his life during his torture. As we examine the rest of his corpse, chunks of flesh are missing with exposed ribs, showing that he was hacked at or perhaps flayed. I'd say the major difference outside of detail in his tattered body is the fact that the developers decided to hide his dignity, being his genitals, as he still has some semblance of underwear on. Now, this is a difference between the original for obvious reasons, which, speaking of which, there was a rumour that the rating system of Oblivion was changed due to nudity, but it was actually this scene that Bethesda were forced to show the FCC, as they originally tried to hide the gore, and in a second pass, seeing Lucian's corpse, well, it became T for teen. But, can you blame them? A link to the video outlining the original Oblivion's rating woes will be linked at the end of this video. Which brings us to, who is the traitor? Well, let's speak to each member of the Black Hand to see if you can identify them early.
When we confronted LeChance, he tried to defend himself, tried to declare his innocence. But we would not hear his treacherous lies. As you can see, he was no match for the combined power of the Black Hand, even weakened as we are. May the Night Mother hold you in her cold embrace.
Greetings, Speaker. Most of my time is now spent on administrative duties. I have not had blood on my hands in far too long. Killing LeChance was pure ecstasy. Sithis is master. All hail the Dread Father.
May we forever serve the Night Mother. Our troubles are almost at an end, brother. Soon we will visit the Night Mother, and she will surely guide us. The four of us attacking him in unison was as graceful and beautiful as a ballet. The flashing of steel, the spraying of blood. Sithis be with you.
You are like an unholy vision, so beautiful. Hello, fellow speaker. Welcome to the Black Hand. So nice to see you're in one piece. You should take some time to admire his corpse. It really is a thing of beauty. The punctures and slashes are almost poetic. May you always walk in the shadow of death.
Did you guess who it was? Well, it turns out if we take Mother's severed head to the meeting and speak to Brenton Matthew Bellamont, he becomes visually disturbed momentarily before collecting himself.
What? What is that? Is that a head? No, it can't be. Sorry, Speaker, I'm distracted.
One of many amazing details the developers peppered throughout the game. This then begs the question, does Bellamont ever get revenge on the Night Mother? I actually expressed my sympathies for Bellamont on Twitter. Unfortunately, LeChance's voice actor Wes Johnson tore shreds off me and Bellamont in the process. Now, the full video of the original story of the Dark Brotherhood, which contains every minor detail, dialogue and quest option, is linked on screen. But for now, as always, thanks for watching. And go now, dear family member, and may the Night Mother wrap you in her cold, loving embrace.
You are like an unholy vision, so beautiful.